Portland, Oregon is home to an all-ages music nonprofit called Friends of Noise. I'm Andre Middleton, the executive director of Friends of Noise, and I love live music. So during the pandemic, I decided to film performances by local musicians in empty clubs across our city. I assembled an amazing lineup of hip-hop, rock, singer-songwriters, R&B, emerging young artists, and established adult artists to help me craft a video love letter to our music scene. Thus, Friends of Noise TV was born. On this week's episode, we'll have performances by Agyei Marshall, the Mistons, Rain Ezra, and intimate interviews about how they all navigated the year that was.
Hello and welcome. I'm Agyei Marshall, and this is my best friend Justin Chitums. We're going to play a song for you tonight. But before we get that, I'd like to thank Friends of Noise TV for having us, and I'd also like to thank the Holocene for hosting us. This song is called Fortress. Funny how time passes by like tiny grains of sand on a dragonfly. So many things I took for granted in life, like your butterfly kisses in the dead of night. Your hands, your eyes, your hair, your lips were always at my fingertips. To love, to hold, to touch, to kiss. I never thought I'd miss like this. I wish I had a way to find the words to say, the perfect letter or poem that will make you stay. Wish I can get away and be with you today. I made a promise to myself to never feel this way. Maybe I shouldn't say silly things anyway. Don't wanna lose your smile just because it's been a while. I just wanna let you know I miss you, I miss you. 6,000 miles is way too far, but it doesn't matter where you are. I'm lucky you're my shooting star. I'll find you, as most things start to fade. Vibrant colors, they turn to gray. One thing will never change, I'm with you, I'm with you. I wish I had a way to find the words to say, the perfect letter or a poem that would make you stay. Wish I can get away and be with you today. I made a promise to myself to never feel this way. Maybe I shouldn't say silly things anyway. Don't wanna lose your smile just because it's been a while. I just wanna let you know I miss you, I miss you. I miss your hug and I miss your touch and I miss your love and I miss your hug and I miss your touch and I miss your love and I miss your hug and I miss your touch and I miss your love and I miss your hug and I miss your touch and I miss your love and I miss you. I had a way to find the words to say, the perfect letter or a poem that will make you stay. Wish I can get away and be with you today. I made a promise to myself to never feel this way. Maybe I shouldn't say silly things anyway. Don't wanna lose your smile just because it's been a while. I just wanna let you know I miss you, I miss you. I miss you, I miss you, yeah. I miss you, I miss you. Thank you, guys.
My creative process is pure chaos. It is
it's not that like I have the idea of most people, they'll like write a melody and then they'll start writing lyrics to it, or they'll find a chord structure or whatever they like. Inspiration for me kind of comes from whatever is happening to me at that moment. It could be that I did hear a melody that I liked and I just started manipulating it into being something different, playing around with it. It could be that I started noodling on the guitar and then all of a sudden a chord structure comes out that I really like. When I am writing or recording my own kind of stuff, it somehow, for whatever reason, usually tends to come out with an 80s flair to it. There's a lot of like pop 80s. I really love Tears for Fears and the band Yes, and specifically 90125 is one of my favorite albums. Most people don't know that about me, so secret's out. But it's very much just, I have an image, usually once I start to get into something, that I have to flesh out in order to get it out of my head. Otherwise, it'll bother me until the end of the earth. And there have been many a sleepless night of pushing out an idea and making it to what I want it to be. So yeah, it's just, I have to get it done, and it's pure chaos until I do. I have performed at the Holocene before, quite a few times. Two are most memorable. I did a Valentine's Day show with Riva DeVito about, I want to say 3 years ago, and also did the release of the Heavy Hustle EP at Holocene, and that was, I want to say, about 3 years ago as well. It's a fantastic venue. I really love it. I like that there's an upper part and a lower part, and if they do like a festival, they can separate it to have two different stages and go back to back to back to back. It's a really cool place. I love how they have brought the sound treatment into being part of the aesthetic of the venue. It's fantastic. The staff there is great. I love it. As far as playing there with it being empty, I do like playing shows during the pandemic. I haven't done many, but the few that I have done have mostly been live streams, and there's way less stress in doing shows when there's no audience, or at least when it doesn't feel like there's an audience there with you. Because if you mess up, it's like you're practicing, or it allows you to stretch out and not worry about, is somebody actually listening? It just feels like you're there in the moment with the people that you're playing with. Yeah, there's definitely the aspect of it of you're performing, but because you don't have there's eyes like burning into my soul right now kind of feel, you get the more of the, what is the drummer doing? What is the bass player doing? What is the lead singer doing? Can I hone in on that? Can we expand on that? I did one, I think it's Northwest Spotlight Talent at the beginning of the shutdown, and that was the first time that I had played a show in I want to say like almost 5 months at that point. And it felt good, because I definitely had the pandemic cooped up in the house kind of stress, and to just get that kind of release from music was nice. And I didn't have to worry about there being an audience. I didn't have to worry about if I messed up a note. Just kind of let it happen. It was great.
Hi, we're the Mistons from Thompson Street in Portland, Oregon. We want to thank the Friends of Noise and the Crystal Ballroom for having us tonight. This song is called My Heart. It's from our album called World of Convenience.
Oh, a place where lights fill the I will have to admit that staying creative during the pandemic has been difficult. Like I think I stated before, not getting to hang out with my creative community, the people that live in my neighborhood, that fed my creativity so much, that for a while I was really impacted, and I was having a difficult time doing anything. I actually took a break from painting entirely, and for a while all I did was make comedy videos that I could put on Instagram just for my friends to kind of do something to make light, because that was during the initial lockdown, so no one could really even leave their house. So I would make these silly banana phone videos and post them on Instagram and do other weird stuff like that. But fortunately, not long into it, like Mike and I, we had songs that we were trading back and forth already, and we even took a few months of not seeing each other just because we were so nervous about impacting his family and impacting the family that I work with. We took a big break. But at a certain point in time when the weather got warm, we were kind of practicing outside. So that kind of helped reboost my creative process, and kind of fuel myself. And knowing that we were working towards a record, knowing that we were going to record fairly soon, gave me what I needed to kind of get up and grab the guitar and start writing lyrics and keep on writing songs, and knowing that, by the end of the week we get together and get to make some noise down in the basement. But the other thing I had to do as far as just my own self-care is cut myself some slack. Remind myself that my job as a creative person, I'm not supposed to be, like Mike had said earlier, we're not making shoes here. My goal is to not every day I need to have at least 10 pairs of shoes that are done, or I need to have 10 paintings that are done, or 10 songs that are done. I just need to keep fueling my fire and keep the creative process alive. And if that means I need to take a few days or a few weeks or a few months break between making things, then that's the way it needs to be.
For me, I think staying busy during the pandemic was not hard for me, being that I have a large family, but feeding the soul is a much harder question, because I saw a lot of friends and contemporaries that I know that are creatives that were really starting to struggle. And strangely, I kind of felt like we were passing videos back and forth. We had created a demo before the pandemic, and we were like he was doing his comedy things and the banana phone videos, which were hilarious. And then it was just kind of like, okay, so we made a video for one of our songs that's pretty comedy driven as well. It's just about the idea of the world of convenience and everything. And during the pandemic, we were having things delivered to your porch. It was just such a strange, reality. And then, I'm a little bit more digital than Sean in the sense that, I was already kind of plugged in, if you will. So for me, I did a lot of music trading, meaning I would set up a drum track and send a drum track to a friend, and we kind of created some tracks together, me and some other friends, and kind of made this pandemic music-scape, which was a lot of fun too, and it did keep you from going kind of bananas. But it was a lot of fun to do that stuff. And then, there was some huge distractions, like having kids at home 24/7 and teaching school on a Chromebook was bizarre. And if you look at it through the lens of inconvenience, this is really cutting into my productivity part of the day, it can be disconcerting. But I think for me, it was kind of more like a grand social experiment, and I learned a lot about my kids. I learned a lot about the way they learn, and I learned that digital learning is not for everybody, and it's not for every kid. And I learned that for myself, I have made a lot of, I've acquiesced to the professional world to such a point that I realized that I'd given up a lot of myself in that process. That, like, you know, once this digital time is over and we go back to doing things like we used to, or if we ever do that, that it's cool to be, you know, off the screens and off of everything and just kind of on your own trip. And for me, I like to run. I like to go on runs daily with my dog. I like to go on runs with my daughters, who one of them I taught to learn how to ride a bike during the pandemic. You know, it was an opportunity to kind of come back to two strange places where you're back to square like it was pre-digital, where you're kind of one-on-one learning with your children and showing them how a garden works and showing them how all the stuff of the house works, and then them showing you what their day is like. So there was no shortage of inspiration and ways to feed the soul. It was just kind of understanding that the soul can evolve, I suppose, to where we're at now. And hopefully we can kind of at some time soon come back to where the soul of the now and the soul of the past can kind of reach reconciliation with one another, if that makes any sense at all. So
I don't understand a fucking thing you just said.
All right, I knew it.
The Crystal Ballroom in Portland, Oregon is often lauded for its jazz-age, vintage, ornate architecture and the marvelous and exceedingly rare floating dance floor. But the true essence of this extraordinary place is not found in such brick-and-mortar attractions. The incomparable quality of the Crystal Ballroom is its steady current of energy that is immediately felt upon entering the building. The source, you may ask? It's the ballroom's reservoir of nearly 130 years of wildly diverse characters and episodes that have converged here, sometimes on a collision course.
Before the pandemic started, I feel like I was the hip hop community in general was really starting to pop off. I was going to Late Lyrics a lot, and then Boston Up started, and then we had this 10:30 show, and there were just shows popping up left and right, and I was just starting to get a big enough name within the restaurants and the winery industry as well. And my roommate and I were getting gigs at casinos and staying out in hotels, and just having, I feel like the performances were really starting to blow up right before the pandemic started. And there were a lot of late night cyphers and studio sessions, which were really nice for the creative process and just musical productivity and getting projects recorded and content, collaborative content released and stuff. So that was, I feel like things were really going towards a great direction, and I was starting to really feel like I was getting to know a lot of people, and I'm really thankful that the pandemic happened when it did and no sooner, because I feel like I would have been a little bit more intimidated to have the networks that I have now and reach out to these people, because being able to have the chance to know them in person before all this happened was really, really helpful. But, you know, we're trying to keep things going over Zoom now, which is not the same at all. I really am missing being able to have actual in-person interactions, because there are so many things with speaking over Zoom that can get misunderstood communication-wise. People can talk over each other and interrupt each other, and things can get cut off. And it's just, I feel like overall, communicating-wise and creative-wise, things were a lot smoother before the pandemic came around. But my creative process wasn't put down too much when the pandemic came, but as far as being able to collaborate with people and perform, and opportunities to learn new instruments and go places to meet new people and get new experiences, that definitely got hindered. Hello. Thank you again, Friends of Noise and Star Theater. This next song is called Chronic Kisses. Medicine in my veins, and I'm higher than I've ever been. Don't wanna lose control. It's funny close to mine, and you will find that my chronic kisses don't lie. I'll open up your eyes to a whole new life, and I will promise you're mine. Will open up to help you find. I will make you drift away in bed, make you feel like you can never have a normal kiss again, because my chronic kisses make you tired of constant pretending. Don't wanna say goodbye. I don't even know if it's worth anything to try. Oh, let me in. Oh, don't wanna make a mess. Just trying to understand why I can get you out my head. But trust me, help you make amends with all the demons in your head, trying to tell you that you're worthless. Don't lie. I'll open up your eyes to a whole new life, and I will promise you're mine. Open up to help you find. I will make you drift away in bed, make you feel like you can never have a normal kiss again, because my chronic kisses make you The biggest thing that 2020 has taught me is I can have zero expectations. And I've been taking that, and I've been learning how to take that into this new year, because I am somebody who has lived a lot of my life based on planning for the future. And now there are so many things that I realize are out of my control. Like, oh, are these things gonna be open? Or are these people gonna be willing to be in a room with me and all these other people? Or are these things gonna be, are people gonna be vaccinated, and is everything gonna be ready to go by this time? I feel like I'm definitely living life just driving blindly now, which is a little scary, a little intimidating. And I really, the biggest thing is I just don't know what to expect out of the next minute or tomorrow. So I am really trying to live every day like it's my last, do everything that I feel like I want to do and try and get it done, instead of just being like, oh, this is something I want to do. I've been filling up my to-do list in my phone just to make sure that I'm like, okay, you said you wanted to make an acapella of this song, or you said you wanted to create this type of show, so make it happen, get it done, what do you need to do? And that's been helping me actually move forward and be motivated with getting things done and productivity, except for it is really stressful when things follow through and it's completely out of your control, and at least I'm expecting it now. So when those things happen, I'm not like, oh my goodness, I used to really let those things let me down. If I was expecting for something to follow through and it didn't, it really made me feel some type of way. And now I'm getting better at just knowing that that's how it's probably gonna be, and letting it be, and just working with what we got, pretty much.